What's going on, world? I go by the name of SeeARevolution, and this is React. So before we even get into the video, do me a favor, hit the like, share, subscribe button. Today's episode, we're going to talk about embracing the uncomfortable. One of the main ways to not grow is by staying comfortable. In this video, I want to talk about how important it is to have a healthy perspective and preparation processes to maintain growth and development. First thing I want to bring up is that I don't want you to punish yourself for where you are now. You may not be where you want to be yet. That doesn't mean you're not going to get there. I don't want you focusing so much on the negative perspective, so much so that it brings in things like doubt, it brings in things like insecurity, it brings in things like fear, it brings in things like regret. All these things that are negative and that's going to mess with your perspective and it's going to hinder your personal growth. It's going to make you less comfortable with being uncomfortable. Naturally, if you're not comfortable with being uncomfortable, you're not going to be comfortable with embracing new discomforts. As a byproduct, if you're not comfortable embracing new discomforts, then you're possibly hindering growth. A lot of times we forget that not now doesn't mean not ever. And for a lot of us who like to be in control, if we don't get things the way we like and when we like, we get flustered. But it's important to remind yourself that not now doesn't mean not ever. The way I look at it is there are certain checkpoints that need to be hit before we assume a new position. I mean things like confidence, faith, perspective, insight, information. A lot of times I believe we just go into things thinking that time is going to be the ultimate telltale and time is a healer. But the reality is time is a healer when you identify things or when you address things that has to do with why you were hurt. You can't just expect a wound to be healed emotionally without addressing it. Again, you have to grow by being uncomfortable. And it's not always comfortable embracing conflict. It's not always comfortable talking about traumatic experiences. I'll give a great example for myself. I refused to do therapy for years because I didn't want to relive certain moments that I've gone through, certain traumatic moments. I didn't want to re-experience them mentally or emotionally. Because sometimes when you tell a story, you ever notice how you tell a story and you see yourself back in the same exact setting with the same people, you recall everything so vividly that the emotion of the story can jump right in as if it's going on right now or if it just happened. So for me, I didn't want to do therapy for, again, years because I didn't want to relive things. But the reality is, for me to be able to have grown or grow to where I am now, I had to go back and I had to have conversations with my skeletons. I had to open a closet door and I had to figure out what's going on. Why am I still battling with rejection so much? Why am I still making people suffer for something that is tied to my past, but I'm bringing it to my present? So I want to, again, embrace you to be comfortable being uncomfortable, because that's where growth can take place, and massive growth at that. There's a part of me that doesn't show up because I'm afraid of rejection. So if I'm afraid of rejection, how can I grow in so many different areas? How can I grow if I'm afraid of rejection unless I embrace what it is that I feel rejected by? Then I can confront it, then I can learn from it, then I grow past it. So in a lot of scenarios, I want us to challenge ourselves to grow through the process, not just go through the process. Just going through it sometimes is letting time take its course, but I want us to grow through the process. So let's let time do what it does, and then let's take responsibility and we do what we do. And when we combine the healing power of time with the healing power of being uncomfortable for the sake of growth and addressing things, then we can end up with a miracle in a lot of cases, right? I do think that comment was worth a like. You should hit the like button now. Being completely transparent, even this year, there are goals that I wanted to hit that I'm not on track for. So it's going to require me having uncomfortable conversations. It's going to require me maybe having to reset my expectations, which is going to make me uncomfortable because it may symbolize that I didn't hit my goal or I'm a failure. But guess what? That's when I have to grow past it. I can't just go through it. I have to grow past that. And I tell myself, I know what I'm not, and I know what didn't. I know what happened. I know what didn't happen. You're not always defined by your accomplishments, right? So just because we accomplish something, a lot of times we put our trophy on the shelf and we don't let anything happen to it. We don't take whatever the acknowledgement of that award or that reward is, we don't fully embrace it, but we embrace failure a lot more. We embrace not getting the trophy, or we embrace not getting the top position, or not getting the promotion, or not still being in the relationship. We embrace the failure of it more versus embracing the success of what you learned when you were going through it, or what you learned when you were in it. There's another aspect of our growth that's just developing your skill set. And that can be as simple or complicated as going to a seminar, actually showing up, you paying for it, booking a hotel, or staying with a friend, and indulging yourself in the moment for whatever it is that's going to boost or sharpen your expertise. We can watch a YouTube video and not be distracted. We can reach out to the top performers for our organizations. If you own a business, then you could try and figure out, well, what is the new cutting edge thing in your field? How can you get ahead of it to boost your business 5 years from now? How can you get ahead of the game in order to create wealth and prosperity in the future? If you're a student right now, are you disciplined? Are you structured? Are you organized? Are you challenging yourself to study a little more before the day of the test? What are you doing to challenge yourself to really be a little more uncomfortable for the sake of growth? And even for people who are in relationships, because the school work analogy may not necessarily fit you now, if you're in a relationship, are you challenging yourself to be more open and honest, to explore more, to expose yourself more to your partner? What are you doing? Are you reading books? Are you sitting down and saying, let's have a 15-minute conversation just between the two of us every day so we can get a better understanding of how we feel? What are you doing to develop the relationship, to develop yourself, to develop your education, to develop your business? Those things may require you being more uncomfortable and more transparent and more vulnerable for the sake of what? Growth. Being comfortable with the uncomfortable, embracing the uncomfort for the sake of growth. Something I think all of us are guilty for is beating ourselves up. And I really want to encourage you to just pause, just take a moment and really think of how phenomenal you are. There are so many things you've accomplished up to this point, whether you give yourself credit for it or you don't give yourself credit for it. The thing is, if you don't, you're going to continue to look at the losses in your life and you're never going to learn from them. Generally, that creates cycles, and you're going to continue to go through the same thing in a different way. Maybe the same scenario with a different face, same relationships that keep ending in the same way with different people. But the reality is you never took the lesson when you took the loss. You took the loss and you just left it at that. You didn't learn from it. So I want to encourage you to not beat yourself up. Again, beating yourself up is going to cause regrets. It's going to cause you to be insecure or unstable or, just doubtful. You don't need that type of thing. You need to tell yourself, hey, you know what? I did take this loss, but what did I learn from it? Okay, got it. So I know that I have to be more open. I know that I have to be more transparent. I know that I have to be more humble. I have to actually sit down and listen to someone. And that really applies to all different scenarios. What is it about the last season of your life that you didn't like, that you can dissect and say, I'm not going to go through that this season. I'm not going to go through that this time. I'm going to grow. I'm going to be uncomfortable and I'm going to grow. A lot of time those things are tied into what you're hearing. So I believe that faith comes by hearing, right? You believe more because you hear more. Then what you hear, it begins to go into your subconscious. Your subconscious then comes to your conscious. So what you hear is what you're thinking. What you're thinking is what you're speaking. What you're speaking is what you're doing. So let's pay attention to what we're listening to. Let's pay attention to what our friend groups are saying about us, what our spouses are saying about us, what our management team or our team of employees, what are they saying about you? Is it negative or is it positive? Because that could be the determining factor for you embracing uncomfortability, you embracing discomfort for the sake of growth. You could need to change what you listen to. Hey, you told me that I'm not. I don't need you to tell me what I'm not. I need you to tell me what I am, in hopes of us being able to progress to where I need to be. That's a bold statement. You have to have some confidence. You have to be uncomfortable to tell someone who may be giving you the wrong message to stop giving you the message that way. Because it may not be the wrong message, but it may definitely be delivered the wrong way. So if you change how you hear, then you change what you think, then you change what you say, and you change what you do, I will call that success. I will call that learning from your loss. I will call that being comfortable, being uncomfortable, and that usually results to growth. Last couple of things I want to tell you is to remember your purpose and don't let a downturn turn into a misdirection. Just because something doesn't happen the way you expected or the way you want it to, don't let that be the new reason for you to just stop what you're doing and set up tent where you are and just turn into a miserable person. No, if something falls short and it doesn't meet the expectation that you had for it, don't let that be the new journey. It's a misdirection. It's just like if you're driving and you make the wrong turn. You don't just show up to whatever building just because you turned the wrong way. No, you get back on a road that's going to get you to where you ultimately meant to go. You're supposed to pick your kid up and you make a left turn on the wrong street. You don't just pull up in front of a random house or a random school and tell whatever kids are there to just jump in your car because you turned the wrong way. And don't let life be the same way. You have babies you need to deliver. Babies for your purpose. Babies for your hope. Babies for your ambition. You got babies that you got to pick up, that you got to deliver, that you got to raise. Just because you made a wrong turn, don't let that be the factor that tells you, well, forget it, I just can't do it anymore. No, metaphorically speaking, pick your kids up. That was a bar. I need you to go ahead and hit like and subscribe and follow me for that one because that was a bar. The last thing I want to say to you in this road of embracing the uncomfortable is understand that embracing the road may seem lonely, and sometimes it is, but understand that you're not alone. You may have started this journey with someone. You may have started this experience with a crew or a team or a partner or a sibling or something. And it may seem like you look up and they're not there during this moment. That's because everyone has to go through their own journey. But again, it doesn't mean that you're alone. You may be feeling like that in a moment, but if you were to open up and tell someone else your story, I guarantee there are thousands and millions of people who can identify with what you're going through. So don't go through it by yourself. I understand solitude sometimes, but usually when someone separates from the pack, they become more vulnerable for attack. So I don't want you to feel like you're in this by yourself. Embrace people who are embracing you. Embrace people who are going to tell you the right thing. Embrace people who are going to help you to get to that next level and that next stage. Again, I'm SeeARevolution. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of React. Please do like, share, follow, subscribe. Hit the like button right now. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Peace.